It's January 15th, 2019 in Nairobi, Kenya. Chris Craighead, a British SAS soldier, is in the city for a training exercise. He is based in a secure British compound located just outside the city centre. For the past few days, he's been training Kenya's top anti-terrorism unit. As he returns to the barracks, a loud explosion echoes in the distance, followed by the clear sound of gunfire filling the air. Unbeknownst to him, a significant terrorist attack has just commenced at the nearby Dusit D2 hotel complex. Hearing another round of gunfire, Chris swiftly grabs his rifle, ammunition and combat gear before running towards his car. Minutes later, he arrives at a scene of chaos. At the entrance are two burnt-out cars. Beyond the gate, bodies can be seen on the ground. Chris tries to quickly weigh up the situation. There are no security forces there to help him. The complex is enormous, and he doesn't know how many attackers are inside. From inside the complex, he hears a woman scream for her life. A burst of gunfire rings out, and her screams are silenced. Chris pulls up his balaclava and moves towards the building. Chris Craighead is a staff sergeant in the British Army's elite SAS division. He joined the British Army in 1992, originally serving in the Parachute Regiment. He is an elite soldier, trained in counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, close-quarter battle techniques, reconnaissance and high-risk urban operations. He's mastered advanced marksmanship, surveillance and breaching tactics, and is an expert in navigating unpredictable environments. Chris's extensive combat experience in Iraq and Afghanistan eventually brought him to Nairobi, where he was recruited to train the elite Kenyan Recce Company. The Recce Company is a specialised unit of the Kenyan police force. Chris had been impressed with their progress over the past week, but training exercises were a far cry from the chaos that was about to unfold. The armed men inside the Dusit D2 complex belong to Al-Shabaab, a Somali-based jihadist group that has been waging a bloody insurgency in Kenya for over a decade. The assault team consists of 4 operatives, 2 Kenyans and 2 Somalis. The group is headed by Ali Salim Gichunge, a 24-year-old from Mombasa. The other members include 27-year-old Osman Ahmed Hassan from Kenya, as well as Muhammad Adam Noor and Abdul Ghani Arab Yusuf. The Dusit D2 attack had been meticulously planned for months. Intelligence reports would later reveal that Al-Shabaab operatives had surveyed the complex for weeks, noting security patterns, identifying entry points, and mapping the layout of the buildings. The complex was chosen deliberately, a symbol of Western influence housing international businesses, tourists, and wealthy Kenyans. The date, January 15th, marks the 3-year anniversary of Al-Shabaab's devastating attack on a Kenyan military base in El Ade, Somalia, where dozens of Kenyan soldiers were killed. Each attacker is carrying an AK-47 rifle, ammunition, grenades, and an explosive vest. A 5th attacker, Mahir Khalid Riziki, started the attack at 3:05 p.m. He entered the complex's secret garden restaurant, stood near the busy crowd for a minute, before detonating his explosive vest. Soon after, the other 4 attackers stormed the building. Outside, they blow up 2 cars using hand grenades in order to create confusion and panic among the public. As they move to the building, they begin to open fire on those trying to escape. The group follows Al-Shabaab's conventional tactics, orchestrating chaos through synchronized bombings and gunfire, taking hostages to extend the situation, and drawing security forces into pre-arranged killing zones. Their goal isn't just to kill, they also want to create a prolonged media spectacle that will spread fear across Kenya and beyond. The Dusit D2 complex is a high-end business hotel and development in Nairobi's upscale Riverside district. The sprawling compound consists of multiple interconnected buildings, including the Dusit D2 hotel, several office towers housing multinational companies, restaurants, and a shopping arcade. On this Tuesday afternoon, approximately 600 to 700 civilians are inside the complex. Business people in the offices, hotel guests by the pool, and diners at the Secret Garden restaurant. As the attack progresses, most of the civilians become concentrated in three main areas. Office workers are trapped in upper floor conference rooms, hotel guests are barricaded in their bedrooms, and restaurant patrons hide inside kitchen storage areas. The terrorists tactically situate themselves to manage the flow of movement within the complex. Gishunge and one accomplice station themselves at the lobby and main entrance, while the other two assailants sweep through the hotel. Chris Craighead arrived at the Deuce at D2 just minutes after the attack had begun. He joins an improvised team of private security personnel and off-duty police officers. The group includes Dan J. Prestralo, a Slovenian member of the Australian High Commission security detail. The Australian High Commission, located on Riverside Drive, just beside the Deuce at D2 complex, went into immediate lockdown when the explosions were heard. Security personnel set up a perimeter around the facility, while Dan Prestralo cautiously moved towards the gunfire in the neighbouring complex. The terrorists launched their assault during Nairobi's rush hour in a heavily congested area, aware that Kenya's elite recce company and GSU counter-terrorism unit would find it challenging to mount a quick response. The ad hoc team gathers at the hotel entrance with news that professional backup may not arrive for over 90 minutes. The men assess the situation one last time, then moments later, at 3:40 p.m, move to enter the building. Chris is wearing a mix of civilian clothing and tactical gear, including body armour, helmet and a face mask. He was armed with a Colt Canada L119A2, a compact 5.56mm carbine used by UK Special Forces. Designed for close-quarter operations, it featured a holographic sight, laser aiming module and a weapons light. Its short barrel and lightweight frame make it ideal for clearing buildings room by room. Entering the complex is like stepping into a war zone. The smell of smoke and gunpowder hangs in the air. Chris signals to Dan and the others to move in a tactical formation as they navigate through the entrance lobby. Inside the complex, tight corridors, stairwells and partitioned offices create a confined and unpredictable environment. In these conditions, Chris leads with his extensive CQB, otherwise known as Close Quarter Battle experience. Each room is a complete unknown. The team moves in a stack, one behind the other, each person assigned a specific role. The lead scans forward, the second covers the opposite corner, the third watches the rear. Before entering a room, they pause just outside the doorway. This is known as stacking. Next comes slicing the pie, a technique where the operator slowly angles across the door frame, revealing slices of the room without exposing their full body. On command, the team flows in quickly, weapons aimed, each member clearing their assigned sector. In the Deuce at D2 response, Craighead and others move room by room, floor by floor, clearing as they advance. Hostages encountered along the way were directed out behind them and led to safety outside. The men are heard shouting the call sign Eagle Eagle Security Forces as they communicate with each other and search for civilians hiding inside. As the media arrives, Chris can be seen escorting groups of hostages and carrying out the wounded before running back into the complex, all while the attackers shoot down from above. When the Kenyan Special Forces arrive, the men on site provide them with a situational briefing. Even though Chris is not currently on active duty and specifically in the country on training purposes, he leads a team of Kenyan Special Forces back inside the complex. Together, they work through the building room by room, finding civilians as they go, located in hiding spots beneath desks, inside restrooms, or locked in offices. Eventually, the team finds the CCTV control room of the building. They monitor the live feeds to track the attackers' positions and movements within the Deuce at D2. At 9 p.m, the sound of gunfire echoes through the building. It's later reported that during this time, Chris successfully neutralised 2 of the attackers. Outside, multiple units continue to extract civilians while the hunt for the remaining 2 attackers intensifies. The operation stretches into the early hours of the morning. By 3 a.m, it's evident that the 2 attackers have barricaded themselves in a hotel room using hostages as shields. At this stage, Kenyan forces assume most of the operational duties. Utilising night vision equipment and with sniper units in place, they approach the barricaded door. A siege team is assembled, and at 4 AM they breach the final room. Gunfire can be heard from inside, and snipers on surrounding rooftops engage. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything falls quiet. At 11 AM on the 16th of January, President Uhuru Kenyatta announces on live TV that the security operation at the Dusit T2 was over and all the terrorists had been eliminated. The 19-hour siege officially ends. Kenyan authorities report that 21 innocent lives, including 16 Kenyans and 5 foreign nationals, were lost in the attack, but over 700 people were rescued. The soldier, wearing a balaclava during the operation, remains unidentified by officials. Yet images of him assisting victims spread globally. The Kenyan and British authorities choose not to reveal the man's identity while managing the delicate political situation around Chris's involvement. Several months later, Chris receives the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross, Britain's second highest honour for valour for his extreme bravery during the Nairobi attack. The award is first approved in secret and then announced officially later in the year, formally recognising that his bravery on that day, in the face of danger, saved numerous lives.